Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Startup Coffee. We're going to wait a few minutes and let everyone come in. We're so excited to see you. Happy Wednesday, everyone. I feel like there's like a delay with my talking and my lips moving.
I think there is.
Good morning. It makes me uncomfortable. It's not like Netflix. I can pause and let the words catch up. Good morning, good morning. Welcome. Welcome to Startup Coffee. We're so excited to be back. Drop us a good morning. Let us know who's here. We have Bree with us today. It's her first time. Be kind, guys. Be kind. It's her first time. It's going to be fun.
You're scaring me now.
It's going to be so much fun, Bree. Coffee is the best. And she brought her coffee. So we're doing the thing. Good morning. We're going to wait just a few more minutes. We have some announcements as usual. We have some events you're going to want to know about. It's going to make everyone excited to see Startup Drinks, but we'll talk more about that in just a moment. Okay, we're going to get started so we can save everybody's morning and you can go on and have your coffee. Good morning, Becky. Good morning, Christopher. Happy birthday, Christopher. We are so excited to be back for another month with Startup Coffee. So as always, we are Startup Tucson. We are a nonprofit transforming the region's economy through entrepreneurship. So a lot of you guys are entrepreneurs on here. A lot of you guys are thinking about starting something. So let's get into it and talk to some more entrepreneurs who are doing their thing. First, let's talk about events. So we have Startup Labs on 9/14. So if you are tinkering or thinking about starting something, sign up for Startup Labs so we can talk more about what this business is and how we can make you $1 million. That's what it's all about. Next we have, and do you want to talk about the Sprint Challenge?
Yeah. So our Sprint Challenge is new. Applications went live recently, and we're accepting them on a rolling basis. So basically what it is we're looking for companies that are in their growth stage and looking to grow even more. And how we're going to help you achieve that is we have our launch lab, which has our prototyping studio and our media studio. So you can come in and take photos of your products. You can create products in there and prototypes. And then we have our e-commerce and prototyping masterclasses, which are super exciting. We have a ton of national speakers that are coming, not coming, digitally coming, and giving some advice on how to grow your business through e-commerce and prototyping. And then we have our statewide mentor program, where we're connecting you with mentors from across the whole state of Arizona. So if that sounds like something that would help benefit your company, I encourage you guys to sign up, and you can do that on our website.
And this week we had our first taste of trying what's in there and learning how to use it. We are not experts in this field, but we can fake it till we make it. But we have experts that can help you. So we have Sarush that's going to be helping in the prototyping lab, where we have 3D printers, laser cutter, vinyl printers. There's a rotary station. There's a lot of things. Then we have Angelique, who's going to be helping you on the media side with photography and podcasting. And we're building out this space for the community. So as you're building your business, we want to make sure that we can help you at every point. So make sure that you guys are checking in with us, seeing what's going on. If you qualify for the launch lab, or the prototyping or the media lab, make sure you put in your applications now. It is on a rolling basis, but we're taking people soon. So make sure you get that in ASAP so you're one of the first people to kind of be in the space. Of course, we have our Startup Tucson ecosystem guide. We have opened and closed nominations for professional services. Wait, the date says Friday. We have opened and closed a couple Fridays ago our nominations for professional services. But if you have someone you want to nominate, please send us an email at info@startuptucson.com. If you have a business owner that you've worked with that's just amazing that we need to know about, and we will take that into consideration. And what you all have been waiting for, because I know like we've been in COVID era and we're still in COVID era for way too long. But guess what? we are bringing it back, y'all. We are coming back with Startup Drinks, and it's unplugged. So there's no programming. We're just going to have a great old time. We're going to see each other. We're going to be outside. So it's going to be very COVID friendly. Wear your mask. If you're not vaccinated, please wear your mask. If you are vaccinated, please wear your mask and take care of your friends and ask them if they're okay with you not wearing a mask. That is super important that we're taking care of each other so we can keep this going. It is September 15th from 5:30 to 7:30 at Moto Sonora. So you can check that out and get more information on Facebook. And we hope to see you there. Make sure you click the little button and say, hey, I'm going to be there so we can look for you. And last but not least, the giveaway is still going on. So make sure you check out Tucson Media Studios giveaway. There's so much here that he's giving away, a social media engagement pack. There's some fundamentals. There's so much. It's a $10,000 value. So make sure you are checking it out. Hashtag Tucson Come Back Strong. And then it's TucsonMediaStudio.com/giveaway. So that brings us to introductions. We want to know who you are, where you're joining us from, what you do. What do you drink in the morning? Is it coffee or tea? What's going on? I'm a coffee drinker all day. What about you?
I mean, I drink coffee here, but I actually prefer tea.
Bree drinks coffee here, and I try to make her the best cup of coffee ever.
God, it's way too strong.
Make sure you guys let us know what you're drinking, and introduce yourself on the side. So we're going to introduce ourselves this time because we didn't do it last time. Bree, please introduce yourself.
Okay. Hi, I'm Bree. I'm a program coordinator here at Startup Tucson. I just recently started. My background is I have a bachelor's in communication and entrepreneurship, and I have a master's in communication. And then some of my past experience is teaching at a university level and academic research.
Perfect. And I'm Kenesha. I'm the program manager. Sorry, I'm the program director here at Startup Tucson.
Woo!
You know, it's that change. We're going to get this together. I'm the program director here at Startup Tucson. And I am so excited to have you guys here. I'm so excited for Bree to be here with us today. It's her first time, and hopefully she will be joining us for many, many more. Channing will also be back with us next month. So maybe it's a good party. But today we have an amazing entrepreneur that's here in town that we want to bring on. So we want to welcome Rebecca from Tap and Bottle. Good morning, Rebecca.
Hello.
Can you please introduce yourself? Oh, no. Hold on. We're going to check our mics. I think we're good on our end. Can you hear us now? Okay. Hold on. Technical difficulties. Hold on, guys. We're coming back with Rebecca. Better now, Rebecca? Hold on just a moment, guys. She's going to let us know if she can hear us. I don't think she can. Rebecca, can you log off?
I don't know if you can hear me, but I cannot hear you.
Yes.
I still cannot hear you. I can't hear you.
Okay, hold on.
I can try and log into my through my phone. Sorry,
Yes,
guys.
please. No worries. No worries. Technical difficulties are a thing.
Let me give it another go.
And we are okay with that. So let's talk more about our entrepreneurs that are coming through.
Okay.
Especially during the sprint and what you're seeing and what you're excited about.
Oh, there's so many good ones. I think that I like that that's a good variety. Like their companies and their products are everywhere. I mean, well, we haven't like announced who's in it yet, so I don't know.
No, but what are you excited about to see come through the sprint?
Oh, here she is.
Oh, wait, Rebecca's coming back. We're gonna pick this up, Bree. Don't think you're getting away. Can you hear us now?
I can hear you now.
Yay!
I'm so sorry.
You are so fine. We are okay with technical difficulties. We're just glad that you're here. So can you please introduce yourself to everyone?
I can. Sorry about my technical difficulties. I'm Rebecca Safford. I own Tap and Bottle, and we also open Tap and Bottle North, and then we have another bar called Westbound that's inside the MSA Annex. And yeah, I've been in Tucson since 2002, and I'm just really excited to be here today. Thank you guys for the invitation.
Thank you so much for coming. So we're going to jump it off with the fact that you are a transplant like we are. And
Yep.
we want to know what brought you to Tucson and what is it that made you stay?
I originally came out to Tucson for grad school, as I'm sure a lot of people did, came out for U of A. I am from Albuquerque, and Tucson felt like home. So, I wanted to get back to the West, and I was moving here from San Francisco, and I needed to be in a city where I could afford to go to grad school. And I stayed. I honestly thought I would go to grad school and go back to the Bay Area, but I love Tucson. It is definitely home, and it was really the people and the community that made me want to stay. And I love it here. I love downtown Tucson. I love, the drive and the other small business owners that are here. So I really felt like I was at home when I got here and never wanted to leave. So here I am in whatever year it is, 2021. We're still here.
We're not going to talk about years because I feel like
yeah, exactly.
we're having some repeats going on. But you came here for grad school, and then you finished grad school, and then what was the transition from finishing grad school to opening Tap a Bottle, the first one?
Yeah. So I'm sure, like many entrepreneurs, I did not see myself as an entrepreneur. I did not go to school for business. I went to school to work in education, and I worked at the University of Arizona. I worked at Pima, and I worked as an academic advisor and counselor. And I loved it. So very different career path. But what supported me all through undergrad and graduate school was bartending and waiting tables. So little did I know that was my education to get me started and wanting to do this. So it's like that was always there. And being involved with food and beverage was always part of my life. And then how I sort of transitioned from education into like taking a big leap into opening my own place was really looking at, with my partner, my husband is my business partner, Scott. We both worked a lot of hours for other people. He worked for Trader Joe's. I worked for the university. We felt like we never saw each other. So that was one part. And then the other part is that we really loved beer, and we loved what was happening in the craft beer industry, and just feeling really passionate about wanting to be somehow involved in the beer industry. We were traveling a lot to the Pacific Northwest, to California, and seeing what was happening there. And we really thought that Tucson needed a really good beer bar. And so it was seeing that, and then feeling like we're working really hard for other people. Why don't we just do this for ourselves? And just sort of taking the leap from there.
So coming from the education background with no actual business background, you opened. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you transitioned and what that was like opening with no business background? Or did you have mentors? What did that look like?
So first of all, it was great having a partner that, had experience that I didn't have. So he worked in management at Trader Joe's, and then I worked, front of the house at a restaurant here that is no longer Cafe Poca Cosa, RIP. So, having front of the house experience and then having bartending experience and undergrad, we were like, there's a lot of things we don't know what we're doing. There's some that we do, and we've got a lot of great ideas. And that's when we really looked at, like you said, mentors, reaching out to our friends that had opened businesses here. It was during a time where there was a lot of small businesses opening up, 47 Scott downtown, Hub downtown, lots of new breweries in the works like Borderlands Brewery. And a lot of the people in that community, we all sort of, hustled together and tried to figure stuff out together. And then getting, people that are in industry or areas that we don't know a lot about. So I definitely needed a lawyer, and I needed an accountant, and identifying the areas that we really had no clue what we were doing and couldn't really pretend to know everything about, the ins and outs of what we needed for our lease. And so relying on on mentors and actually hiring people to help us in that way. So
Perfect. So you opened in 2013
mm-hmm.
and you opened downtown in 2013. That was your first location?
Yep.
What did that look like for the first year?
So when Scott and I decided to open, we were in San Diego drinking at a beer bar and on New Year's Eve, and said if we can find a location when we get back, let's just go from there. So we just took little steps at a time. We found our downtown location. We're both, lived downtown at the time, wanted to be downtown. So our first year wasn't even 2013. If we look at 2012 was when I left my job, and I thought opening a business would be quick. I thought, we've got this. We can just build a bar, get a liquor license, hire some people, and we'll be open in 6 months. So, if you and I knew each other back then, you would have seen all my Facebook posts of, we'll be open in a few months. Get ready, Tucson. And, little did I know it would take us a whole nother year to get open because I didn't know what I was doing. So 2012 is actually what I consider our first year of business school and trying to learn how to work with the city and learn about liquor laws and liquor licensing. So when we were actually able to open our doors in 2013, we were definitely out of money and just had to do it. There's lots of things we were not ready for. But we opened our doors and we thought maybe it would be a slow trickle of people, and it was slammed. It was crazy busy. Our first year is still probably one of our best years.
Wow.
We just, hit at the right time when a lot of people were very passionate about craft beer, and a lot of breweries were opening up, and people were looking for a spot that was a bottle shop and a bar, and focusing on education, focusing on, there's my education. I got to use my education background. Focusing on education about beer and the brewing process, lots of tasting events. So it was wild. The first year was wild. I can't even remember all of it.
That's exciting. That's exciting that you were finally able to open the doors, because most entrepreneurs, we don't know what we're doing until we're in it, unless you went to some kind of business school. But even going to business school and actually doing it is so different. So now we have our first year and we're doing great. When did you decide to expand?
We started looking at, I feel like we saw the success of the first one. We saw that we could make it work. And Scott and I are very motivated by, what if someone else does it first, right? I've got this great idea. I've got to get it going, because what if someone else does it before I do it? And then I'm going to be sad I didn't do it. And that's sort of what we thought about the Northwest side. So Tap and Bottle North is on Ina and Oracle, obviously a very different part of town than we're in right now. But we really saw that area as needing some small local businesses and really something focused on beer. So that was part of it, being motivated by, I don't want someone else to do it first. And then also looking at sort of long term, if this is going to be our job, how do we make it sustainable and make it work for us as a family? So he was still working at Trader Joe's at the time, and we felt like we really needed two businesses to make it a viable option for both of us to leave our jobs and support us. And at the same time, for anyone out there that has more than one business, it always feels like when one is doing well, the others may be eh. And so it's we felt like if we had two, then if there was construction at one, then the other one could help out a little bit. So Tap and Bottle North was supposed to be our second, or actually, I take that back. Westbound was supposed to be our second location, and that was taking so long that we opened North because we didn't know if Westbound was ever going to happen.
Okay.
So, anyway.
So in between the two at that time, how many employees did you have, and how were you managing those employees? I think that's the question. When do you hire? That's the first question. How many employees did you hire in the first one? And then between the two, how many employees?
Yeah, so that is a really hard to figure out when to hire, right? Because sometimes at the end, especially with food and beverage, you're waiting on licensing. So you're like, when am I going to get my certificate of occupancy? When can I open the doors? You want to hire people so they can give notice at their other job and have time to train them. So we hired people. We opened on June 20th. We probably brought everyone in about 2 weeks before that. Again, challenging because we were running out of money, but we needed help getting inventory in and getting everyone trained. So we were interviewing at the 1st of June, bringing people on, and our original team was about 6 people. We still run it lean and mean. At each location, we have about 5 or 6 employees. So we're at 20 overall employees across 3 locations. We do have some people that hop between the two, but.
Okay. I think that's the question that I get all the time. When do I hire my first person? Or I'm going to start a business and I'm going to hire them tomorrow, but I have no money. So I think that's a question that we always get. And people are so worried about not having things in place to hire people, or they hire and still don't have things in place. So what advice would you give to someone thinking about hiring?
I feel like hiring and employees and staff stuff for me is one of the most challenging pieces, because you're taking care of other people, right? Like when it's just me and Scott working on stuff, I'm like, we can work every hour of every day. We will do everything. But with my employees, obviously I want it to be a safe and happy workplace. I have failed a lot within this area, and that can, we can talk about that later. But I would say you're never going to feel totally ready with everything that you need to do for employees. I think that having some kind of onboarding or training in place beforehand, that here's what we need to do, here's the basics of what they want to know or what they need to know, even if it's just a pretty straightforward checklist, and then knowing sort of what their needs are as far as how many hours they need, if they're leaving another position, and if you're actually able to do that before you take somebody on. I didn't want to promise my first 6 people, you're going to be making tons of money, all these tips, here's your hourly rate. I had no idea. I didn't even know what to expect. What I wanted to do is provide them at least the minimum number of hours that they needed to work to support themselves to leave their other job. So I felt like it was good to have a balance of people that were full-time in food and beverage, full-time and part-time. So my full-timers were here 5 days a week. My part-timers were here 2 to 3 days a week. So having a balance.
That's great advice. That is for people that are just starting out, not knowing. That's great advice. And please, this will be here forever, but please make sure you guys are taking notes when you're thinking about hiring someone. This is very important, especially throughout the steps. So now we've scaled. We've gone from downtown, north, and now we're at Westbound. And Westbound is very different. So can you tell us more about your thought process behind Westbound?
Yeah, so Westbound, for anyone who hasn't been there, it's inside the MSA Annex, which is around I-10 in Congress, and it's really unique. It's inside a shipping container. There's multiple shipping containers, multiple businesses, and it is, something that we were approached within the early years of Tap and Bottle, maybe year 1, by a group called Gadsden, who also did the Mercado San Agustin. We were approached by them as, they are looking to make this really unique community of businesses, and they would love for us to be involved. So we were, first of all, super honored after just a year of business for someone to identify that they thought we would be a good fit. And what was great about it is we felt like we had something to bring to the table. You know, we had a year of business experience. We have a lot of great ideas as far as what we thought we could bring to the space. And then we got to work with a group of people. So we got to work with the developers, and we got to work with Butte Burger and a few of the other businesses that were on from the first about what it's going to look like. You know, how are we going to do this inside shipping containers? But obviously it was a build out from nothing. There was nothing there before. It was a dirt lot. So it took a long time. So even though that conversation started within our first year of Tap and Bottle, you know, we didn't open that until it's 3 years old. So it was sort of the long play. And at times, you know, we were like, we don't know, maybe this won't even work out, but we were committed to the sort of mission of the MSA Annex. And then because it is close to Tap and Bottle, we wanted to give it its own identity as Westbound, so it wouldn't be confusing if people were like, let's meet at Tap and Bottle. And you might end up over at I-10 in Congress, or you might come over to 6th and 7th. So that's why it had its own sort of look and feel, and we really wanted to have cocktails over there. So, you know, giving it sort of its own personality with the cocktails on tap.
I love that. Bree, you have any questions?
Yeah, I do. So earlier we were talking about, you know, like your love of Tucson and the desert, and like you came back here because it reminded you of home and wanted to start a business here. When it comes to Tucson specifically, were there any, well, first, I guess, what are like the pros of starting a business in Tucson? And then if there were any challenges to like this location specifically, what were those and how did you overcome them?
So first of all, I feel like Tucson, and I'm sure that you all hear this a lot, is so ripe for entrepreneurs. It is, you know, we did this on a budget. I felt like coming from a town like San Francisco, where I couldn't even envision starting a business there and having the funds to do so, Tucson made it possible. Our rent is extremely affordable where we are downtown. And I felt like because it is a small town, there was always someone to ask for help, right? Like, I don't know what I'm doing, but if I go to, you know, my friends that just opened another business, they're going to help me out. There wasn't really the competitive, you know, I don't want to help you because you're going to be competition. It felt very community driven. So first, the pros of Tucson were just looking at it financially. It was attainable for someone who was a waitress, an educator, and my husband who's a grocer to, like, you know, pull some of our savings out and make it happen. So, and then obviously the just awesome business community that we have here was great. So that was the first part of the question. And then I can't remember the second part of the question. So why Tucson?
And then were there any challenges to like setting up a business here in Tucson? And if there were, what were they and how did you overcome them?
Yeah. I mean, I think everybody's going to face challenges. For me, some of them were because we were so new to all this. We have a beautiful old building, as you can see in, you know, my background right now. It was built in 1902. So one of our challenges was the space, and that's why it took us a while to get open. I do lease my building. I rent my building. I would say to anyone getting started, definitely have somebody look over your lease and understand the ins and outs of a lease when you don't, because I was used to renting an apartment. I wasn't used to being like a tenant as a business owner where you come in like, what is tenant improvement dollars? Who's responsible for taking care of the air conditioning if the air conditioning breaks? All these things I just didn't really have the I don't know if it's social capital, entrepreneurial capital of understanding everything about the lease. So that was a challenge for us. In getting the space ready. And I think navigating code for what is needed in the building. And again, going back to like a pro of Tucson, I feel like our planning and development team in Tucson, they were extremely kind to someone like me who really, I just went there every day. I asked lots of questions. I went to lots of meetings and learned along the way. So sort of goes back to like why Tucson is awesome too, is now they all come here and hang out and drink beer. So they get to say they knew me when I had no idea what building code was. And now I know what building code is. So.
Well, guys, drop your questions below. We have time for maybe 2 more questions, and then we'll pull questions from the chat. People are starting out in this restaurant field and in the brewery field, and it seems to be hard for them, especially now, to kind of break in. What advice would you have for them, for our food entrepreneurs?
I would think about like what is missing in our community. When we got started, there was not a lot of places that were like Tap and Bottle, but there were in other cities, and we felt like there was a niche and a need for something like this. And I would look at, anyone looking at any kind of food and beverage, new breweries, new restaurants, new cideries, is what does Tucson not have, and what is unique that you have to offer? If it's a location that's underserved, like what's going on in certain communities in Tucson? Is there a need for restaurants? Is everything downtown? But also looking at like what types of cuisines aren't being offered. What about like more chef-driven restaurants here? Like ones that are truly like looking at who's making the food, and what's their story? I want to hear their story. So I would say really focusing on what makes you unique and your ideas unique versus looking at what's already successful and making the same thing.
So in 10 years, what will be your story?
Ooh, good one. Like, I have no idea. I would say 10 years ago, we were just talking about Tap and Bottle, and I would have never thought that we would have 3 locations. I would hope, and I feel like the last year with COVID, a lot of us have had time to think about that, right? Like, what's next? I would hope that, I would like to do 1 more location in Tucson. And I would like it to involve what's working well at Tap and Bottle and what's working well at Westbound. We'd like to look at bringing our draft cocktail program into the Tap and Bottles because it's been so great. But I would also like to look at, in 10 years, who are we helping to grow within our business to take on, that it's not just Rebecca and Scott. Like what other people in our business that are here now can we help grow to be taking on more leadership role and ownership into our business. So I'd like to look more big picture, like at some point, I want other people to be involved in our business, and be involved in more of at a higher level. So that's what we're hoping. Maybe take another vacation.
No more vacations. No more. We have a question. I'm going to pull it over here.
Yeah.
Becky says, what are the beer industry trends that you're thinking about for your near future? About now for your near future?
We've all seen, if you follow beverage industry, like a lot of the trends that are happening right now is like going beyond beer, so a lot of breweries are making seltzers. There's been a lot of focus on gluten-free options, and we've seen that in our business as well. So like hard kombuchas, hard ciders, obviously. So I sort of, we want to stay on top of that at Tap and Bottle and look at, it's not just, we want to honor our classics, what everybody loves to drink, Pilsners, IPAs, but also like what's super hot right now. And I would say just sort of these alternatives to just beer. Another big one is non-alcoholic. So for example, Athletic Brewing is a non-alcoholic beer. We serve it at Tap and Bottle, and I think it's a great option because it's brewed, it basically is a non-alcoholic beer, but it's brewed in the spirit of a lot of these other like craft breweries, and looking at, they have like a hazy IPA, they have a stout, they have a blonde, and looking at those options because everybody needs a break from alcohol every once in a while, and maybe that break is is for a long time and forever, and you still love the taste of beer. So
Even for like pregnant mommies who want to go out,
totally, yeah,
it's a great option.
yeah. Sometimes you just need that beer at the end of the day. It doesn't have to have alcohol in it. So
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, we have another question. Look for what you feel is missing in Tucson regarding opening a business. What do you feel could be brought to Tucson?
Well, I did mention it a little bit earlier, but I do, and this is based on working for Susana Davila at Cafe Poca Cosa, is really like chef-driven restaurants. Like Maria, who's over at Boca, restaurants that focus on who's cooking the food, I think would be awesome. Or City of Gastronomy. And then I also think like collaborations between people. So I was really excited about the Charo, Barrio Charo. So it's like, Don Guerra from Barrio Bread and then El Charo. Like we have some really awesome people in this community. Could there be some collaborations between people who are winemakers and beer makers, or, a cider house just opened up, cider makers and, craft brewers. So I think that's sort of what's next for Tucson.
That's exciting. It would be exciting to see more of that.
Yeah.
Since we're such a small community,
Yeah.
it would be nice to see it.
And too, not to like interrupt, but looking at what worked well at Westbound with all of these small local businesses working together, right? So we have like such a great community there. We feed off of each other. We all bring in different customers and sort of is I think more of that, like communities that have lots of, maybe some shops and some restaurants and maybe a little brewery, and there's lots of space to enjoy it, preferably outdoors, as we've learned in the last year. So I think something like that is needed in more than just, the few that we have right now.
I like that at Westbound you can have a drink in one place and then like roll over to Kukai and have ramen. Or you have all of that, but it centralizes everything.
I agree. Yeah. So I think more of that, less for me, like less strip malls where you're walking from one business to the other and they're all their own identity, and more community driven. I'm excited to see what happens with the project that's on Broadway. And so it's like, I can't remember what it's called. It's on the Sunshine Mile, but it's like lots of little bungalows.
Yes, the bungalows.
Yeah. So, projects like that, I'm excited to see what happens.
I don't remember what it's called, but Liz, if you're here, can you drop what it's called in the chat for us? I think it's something gastronomy, something collective. Will Liz drop it in the chat for us? Let's talk about the challenges you are facing right now with construction. Talk more about that. Tell people how they can find you and actually get to you.
Thank you. So currently right now at our downtown location, we are in the middle of construction that will, basically close off an intersection, the main intersection by our business, for about 7 months. So, after the last year and a half, I'm sure you all know that it's hard to gather up any kind of like, we've got this, we can get through it. So it's just basically having sort of the ability to see to the future that it's going to be okay. We're going to make it through this just like we did the last year and a half. But it is a challenge. So it's really speaking to our customers and our regulars and being like, we're still here. You can get here. So for anyone that's wanting to come to Tap Downtown, I would recommend getting here from Speedway, and instead of trying to go under the underpass from downtown. There's still enough parking, but also use it as a time to say, maybe I'll ride my bike or walk over or make a night of it and do a little bar crawl from Royal Room to Tap and Bottle downtown. So that's our biggest challenge right now. I'd say that Tap and Bottle North is thriving because Riley Pizza just opened next door.
We did.
Very happy about that. And Westbound is doing great. A lot of people found it during the pandemic because it's a safe outdoor space, and it's just been doing really well, and only to do better with great weather in the fall.
Perfect. So use Speedway to, what is that?
It's like Speedway and 6th, or like think about, you could park north of Speedway and just walk down, or park around 4th Avenue and, visit lots of local businesses, and then come see us over here. And a little shout out to my neighbors.
Oh no, we lost your sound. Come back to me. There we go. Yay. Perfect. I want to wrap this up with, what inspirational thing would you give to someone starting a business tomorrow?
I would really just say, don't be limited by, don't be limited by how you see an entrepreneur. Like I said earlier, like I never really saw myself as an entrepreneur, but I really think that it can be in everyone. Like if you have a great idea and you want to start something, like you can make it work. It's not just one personality type that can make this work. And then also, basically like rely on other people in your community. You're not doing this alone. Like ask a lot of questions. Don't be afraid to ask a lot of questions. And, who knows, 3 years later or 10 years later, you'll have 3 businesses and be like, how did I even get here? How did this happen? But mostly
10 years, a pandemic, and construction. Yes. Yeah. You will be here. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. It was so great to have you, Rebecca. Stay with us for just a moment as we close out. Don't forget, guys, we have startup drinks on the 15th. There's more information on Facebook. If you want to nominate a professional that you've worked with, info@startuptucson.com. And we will see you next month for another Startup Coffee. Have a great day, guys. Bye.
Bye.